Hey, welcome back to Basin Motorsports. So there you have it. Last week you saw it that the WideFox is now a street-going car. Told you I had plates and insurance. I got it out of the garage. So Thursday you saw that I took it for a test drive, found a couple things, parking brake, a couple other things, small stuff really. Fixed all that Friday night. Saturday I ended up taking it to a car show. Now this is a local show. It was about 25 miles down there. Good show, about 60 cars. Really hot though. It was like 95 degrees out. So man, it was a torture out there just trying to stay cool. So the car itself, I think, showed very well. A lot of people didn't really recognize the front fenders when they walked by, but they recognized the rears because they're bolted on. And they came back by to really go, wait a second, I had to go look at this. So lots of good comments. Did have one lady say that she stopped. She walked all the way around the car, and then she turned to her kid and said, "Kids, I don't remember Mustangs like this in the 80s. So there you go. Good stuff. Now, at the end of the day, I did put it in the car show in the under construction category. So by entering, I did get a dash plaque, which will go up on the wall with my past ones that I've gotten. And I did win first place. So there you go. Proof that WideFox is now an official award-winning build. So while that was awesome for the day, it was a great result, I did have something bad come out of the show. Not really bad. It's more like irritating. So as I get down here, you can kind of see that the car is kind of splotchy, right? So where I got parked for the show, and again, this is not going to be intentional. I know somebody didn't do this maliciously, but I ended up getting parked about 25 or 30 feet away from this monstrous grill that cooked tri-tip all day. And if you have ever grilled pork, you know how fatty it is and how much it like spits off grease. So all of this covers my car front to back. It is grease. It's pork grease. Hot grease on my car all day long. So now while that's irritating, thankfully I hadn't wrapped the car yet, or else I would be a little more than irritated by this point to put all the labor in. But this week I'm going to start taking the car apart to get ready for the wrap. I did order the wrap last Friday, which I guess if you're watching this Saturday, this is a week ago, and I probably already have it. I won't announce what it is until I start wrapping it, but I think you guys will like it. It's good stuff. Didn't come up with a sponsor for it. Nobody's interested, so that's okay. So now remember, I'm going to do the complete series of how to get the car prepped. That'll be step one, and then of course wrapping the whole car, and then I'll go over the details of how to keep it clean, and I'm going to break off into other brands and stuff because I'm going to use Avery Dennison for the wrap on this one. So down and back to the car show was awesome. I put about 50 miles on it with the other 9-ish or so on the test drive. That's about 60 miles on the car. And I got to tell you, this thing, other than the mist thing I'm still working on, this thing handles beyond my courage level. Just kind of been rolling it through it. The springs have settled in. Everything's kind of adjusted down, and the car actually sits lower now, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Everything's just settled in. I torqued it all down with the bushings and that to where everything should have been at ride height, but I think just putting some fuel in it, just bumping it around, everything is now kind of settled in, and it really sits, it almost sits where I want it to. So now I've been complaining about the springs, about how the stance is terrible, and gosh, now it almost sits where I want to, and I need to eat my words. So with the drive-in, I am a firm believer in building a car like this. Even without totally race suspension or race springs or anything else, this car is totally stable. It's capable. It's a plush ride. Other than I've got to fix the heater, obviously, because it's pouring heat in there because I don't have any ventage or anything else. So it's hot, 95 degrees. It's like the heater's on. So rolling the windows down, it's just hot, but that's okay. It will get done. I've got some things to do after the torture chest, which was at car show. So WideFox is almost done. I'm going to call it done. I'm probably going to have it wrapped up for this year. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and say in another month. That will put me about towards the end of August. And I think I can start getting this other side of the bay cleaned up to where I can get the 86 brought in. put it on jack stands because the WideFox is going to be a completely street-driven car at that point. And remember I said I'm only going to have one car on jack stands at a time. That way I can roll things in and out and still have use of the garage. So that means I'll probably do an episode of just me cleaning up the whole garage. If you've seen it, you know, I've had it worse in here, but having 2 cars in here is going to take up a massive amount of space. And one thing I've learned from doing these builds, especially with 2 cars in here, is that I have kind of these entry doors. If you can see behind, kind of over there with the Mustang poster and that goes to one other room. There's another door on the other side that goes to another room. If you have anything that way towards the garage doors, what it ends up doing is making it really constricted on the sides. And I've had a lot of trouble with WideFox in here, not really in the center, but towards the outer wall. You know, having a toolbox and a bunch of other stuff over there. It's made it really difficult to be able to work on the sides of the car because I've always got stuff in the way that I've got to pull out and wheel out of the way and everything else. In the other bay, I have textbooks, I have magazines, I have car parts, I have shelving. I mean, you name it. I have kind of just crammed everything against that wall. And that's all got to go. So I'm going to rearrange the shop a little bit. I've got an old antique desk I've had in there. Then this was going to be my office that, well, honestly, after like 3 years, I think I need to go up on that dream. I tried it for a while being out here in the winter to work in the garage, and it just doesn't stay warm enough. And I don't have space heating, and I just haven't got off my butt to put it in either. So I think I'm just going to give up the dream of this as a home office out here and just make it a full-time garage with stuff. So got to clean it out, get it ready to go, and then have 2 cars in here. So after the car show, and I put up some pictures and that on Facebook, Instagram, a bunch of other social media and that, I had somebody contact me with an offer. They are sitting on a 1980 coupe, identical to what this started as, that is missing an engine, has no seats. I think there was something else, but it's basically a duplicate of what WideFox started as. So it's an 80 coupe. It's a roller, basically. It has a transmission, has a rear end, no engine, no seats. I think the interior is there. It's missing some other pieces based on the picture, but I will say for the price offered, it's a pretty good deal. So then I started thinking, holy moly, do I really need 3 cars sitting here? For the price it is, maybe. So with WideFox almost done, the 86, I think, is going to be a quick turnaround, really. The body prep is going to be the worst part about it for the wrap. Interior is going to go really quick because it's going to be a matter of stripping it out, cleaning it, replacing anything I need, getting all the seals done, and getting it right back out. I'm still debating on whether I want to do the Super Coupe drivetrain in it or the engine, transmission in that. Still debating on that. I may just clean it up and just make the content of it and sell it with the V6 because it runs. Probably, you know, clean up the fuel system and get it all back to there, but maybe give it over to somebody else that really would like it and can do what they want with the engine and drivetrain. So the reason I say this is I'm thinking of building a duplicate. So now a duplicate is not going to be the exact same because it's going to be hard to come up with some of the pieces I put in this, like the drivetrain, basically. Yes, I can 5-lug swap it, or I can start with a SN95 rear. I mean, there's a lot of things that I could duplicate exactly. The wide body kit, I'd probably do it that way. I may bond the rear fenders on this time versus bolting. The question is, I don't need 2 wide body cars. So what am I going to do with it? You want it? I don't know. That's a thought I'm thinking of right now. I told you guys what it costs to build this. So you have a ballpark, and then you start changing out stuff you want. Do you want different wheels? Do you want different tires? Do you want a different engine? You know, all that kind of stuff. You can get pretty deep on this thing for some cash. But I'm thinking about building a second one. Now, I put it up on Instagram, I think this morning, and I've already had people going, no, do not sell it. Build yourself a completely ridiculous track car with it. And I'll tell you, car 3 I've never told anybody about other than my wife. I have been thinking about building an all-wheel drive wide body. That's an option. And I think I can build a second wide body better than the first one because this is the experiment to prove it actually does work. All right, so the rest of the week has been spent getting ready for the wrap. Now, I did get the new wrap in, and it is fantastic, and you will find out soon enough what it is. So you can see the car is taken apart. I have all the trim off other than the front and rear bumper. Those are the last two pieces to come off in order to finish sanding. So you can see all the swirl marks here on the car. This is me sanding from 800 to 1500. Most of the passenger side is done, and I just need to finish the driver's side, the roof, and I think the trunk. Now, if you've followed the build on Instagram, you know that I have been releasing out colors of the 10 samples that the WideFox is not. So what I have released far has been the green apple metallic. That is not a color. The matte purple. That is not a color. The matte cherry metallic. That is not a color. And the matte garnet metallic. So that leaves 6 colors that it could be, and I leave you for another week to ponder what will the WideFox color be when it's all said and done. You did ask for a specific video on how I prepped and getting the car ready to go, so I have filmed that, and I will put it out next week. Now, it's either going to be side content or it will be next Saturday's video. I'm not sure yet. It's going to kind of depend. I don't want to ram and cram all of the wrap done. I want to kind of spread it out a little bit, give you guys time to digest, ask questions, etc. So it's probably going to go pretty fast filming it. It's a matter of when I release it out. Now, be sure to watch Facebook, Instagram. I'm not really active on Snapchat right now, but if you guys want pictures of what's going on, you guys can keep track of that. But that's probably the easiest way to keep track of what's going on here in the garage is through pictures versus video. So that's it from Basin Motorsports this week. Great week last weekend, obviously winning an award, having a award-winning debut public viewing. And now it's time to go back for the last round of modifications for this year, which is going to be the wrap and then putting the interior back in. That's it. See you next time.